Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Wednesday, August 23rd, 2023. Caltrans will be closing lanes on Highway 62 at the bottom of the grade near Desert Hot Springs to repair damage to a bridge. Planned single-lane closures in both directions between Indian Canyon and Pearson will allow traffic to pass through the area but may cause delays. The closures are currently considered by Caltrans to be indefinite. The California Highway Patrol reports that 3 center cones holding up the Mission Channel Bridge are missing large chunks of concrete and are in need of repair. The bridge will remain open during the repairs, but expect delays. Storm-related closures on 29 Palms Highway at Godwin near Wonder Valley have been reopened. Still, you can expect delays this week on 29 Palms Highway east of 29 Palms as Caltrans continues regularly scheduled work on Highway 62. Expect delays between 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. this week with the possibility of daytime work from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. Delays are expected to be 15 minutes and the closure will be between the city of 29 Palms and Vidal Junction. For updates on closures, you can sign up to receive emails from Caltrans at a link in this story at z1077fm.com. The prosecution rested after calling up the state's final witness in the trial of Arthur Davies, the man accused of killing a 17-month-old child. Online news editor Robert Hayden is covering the story and joins us with this report.
Dr. Melissa Egge took the stand for the state. Amongst other positions, she's worked as a forensic pediatrician for 5.5 years at Loma Linda University Hospital. She says she's consulted on hundreds of cases that involve the suspicion of child abuse. Such was the case when 17-month-old Parker Lee Schumacher arrived at Loma Linda on February 11, 2015 with severe head trauma and eye injuries. Dr. Egge focused on the severity of these injuries and discussed the forces it would take to create the type of injury she saw in Parker's eye. She said that in cases where a child has accidentally fallen and landed on their head, for instance from a second-story window, most of these patients leave the hospital within 24 hours with minor injuries and don't typically involve the severity of injuries that Parker sustained. Prosecuting attorney Charles Swade rested the state's case after the doctor concluded that Parker suffered at least one episode of abusive head trauma, typically seen in a violent shaking event, and at least one severe impact to the back of the head inflicted by someone else, resulting in the complex fractures on the back of Parker's head and bleeding on his brain. On cross-examination, Ali pushed the witness on her conclusions, asking her if there was any physical evidence of Parker sustaining his skull fracture from being slammed against a surface. Her answer was, quote, "The evidence is on Parker's skull." She also reiterated that the forces it would take to create the type of retinoschisis injuries on Parker are akin to an infant dying in a car crash involving a rollover or a fall from a third-story window. When the doctor was asked by Ali if a child could have sustained the injuries she saw on Parker through the circumstances given by Davies, she simply stated, "It's impossible." We'll have more details on the defense's cross-examination of Dr. Egge along with the defense's first called witness. That's going to be at this story on our website, z1077fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Robert Hayden.
The 29 Palms City Council chambers held yet another packed house for a 3-hour meeting that included 5 public hearings, 3 discussion items, and 1 very deep dive into the effectiveness of the Tourism Business Improvement District. Reporter Heather Clisby was there.
Last night's 29 Palms City Council meeting attracted a sizable crowd as many came to address the final agenda item concerning the Tourism Business Improvement District, also known as TBID. The first public hearing concerned updates to the fire code, which is required every 3 years to comply with the state code. The next 4 public hearings addressed amendments to the development codes on land uses, accessory dwelling units, community centers, emergency shelters, and off-street parking and loading. The council approved the $15,000 purchase of a portable shower unit to serve the homeless. Initially, it was presumed the showers would rotate church locations throughout the city, but then agreed it may reside permanently at Shadow Mountain Community Church at 6414 Split Rock Avenue. How and where to dispose of the gray water was discussed, as well as the presence of a pastor or someone to facilitate public usage of the unit. The final hour of the long meeting was a passionate debate over the efficacy and financial value of the TBID. The item was to review the TBID's annual report, marketing plan, and budget, as well as reaffirm the proposed TBID's 1.5% assessment on short-term stays. Various stats were presented to show progress, but several attendees called for T-bids abolishment. Many of them local hotel owners who say the city is better off putting T-bid marketing funds into crowd-drawing events. After much debate, some of it heated, Councilmember Mintz made a motion to amend the T-bid budget and adopt the resolution to extend the T-bid. Councilmember Scott, who is concerned with the role of non-ADA compliant VHRs in the matter, stated that further discussion was clearly needed. The council approved the resolution, with Councilmember Scott casting the only nay vote. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Heather Clisby.
The Yucca Valley Planning Commission met last night to review the land development report and reviewed the addition of a 40-foot shipping container for storage at a private residence. Reporter Hillary Sloan has more information from the meeting.
Last night, during the Land Development Report, the commissioners were updated on Starbucks West submitting their latest plans and traffic study. Evoque Modern Lomita Motel is about 6 months out as they shop for a California Environmental Quality Act consultant. Chipotle and Quick Quack are both making progress. Domino's has resubmitted plans. Las Palmas Restaurant is moving into the former La Casita building, and Star Cafe is correcting its grading plan. At the next Planning Commission meeting, the commissioners will review Wine and Rock upgrades and discuss special events in residential areas, including a Breathworks retreat in a short-term rental. Also at the next meeting, the commissioners will review branding, mascots, and freestanding signs. Lastly, the commissioners reviewed a request by a short-term rental owner to keep a 40-foot shipping container on a mixed-use property. The code prohibits a storage container from being on a property of a single-family home without being brought up to the same standards as the existing house and building a concrete pad underneath. In final business, the town has begun cleanup after the storm and is reporting minor damage. For Z107.7, this is reporter Hillary Sloan.
The town of Yucca Valley's Color Fun Run 5K and 2K walk was delayed from last Saturday to this Saturday, August 26th. Registration is currently open for this competitive 5K and non-competitive 2K walk, which will see participants slimed with multicolor slime at several color stations along the route. Top finishers in the 5K will receive medals. You can register at a link in this story at Z107.7fm.com. Audiences from across the Morongo Basin and beyond are awaiting Theater 29's upcoming 2023-2024 season slate of shows. Arts and entertainment reporter Charlie Thomas fills out the marquee board.
Theater 29 launches their 2023-24 theater season with a September comedy celebration beginning September 2nd, when the Rotating Players improvisational comedy troupe performs Improvalicious for unscripted hilarity. September 9th and 10th, they will host a staged reading of the hilarious Neil Simon classic, God's Favorite, with a live sneak peek of the productions coming up in the new season. And Test Market is back, live from Vegas, with their mature audience comedy show, Everybody Loves Dick, The Life and Times of Dick Ripper, the weekend of September 16th and 17th for viewers 16 years and over. Tickets are available now at theater29.org/tickets. Reporting for Z107.7, this is Arts and Entertainment reporter Charlie Thomas.
And finally, Morongo Unified will hold their very first early release day today, meaning all MUSD schools will release students 90 minutes earlier than usual. The MUSD board approved the policy in April, instituting it for the entirety of the 2023-2024 school year. Students will be released 90 minutes early every Wednesday, so teachers and staff can have scheduled collaboration time during the workday as a method to improve student outcomes. The Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, known as ELOP, is available at every elementary school and provides programming for students at the end of these short days. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear news happening, let us know about it. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmatz.